Hello, everyone. Hello. Alan here. Just a brief, unscripted. I have some notes on an envelope I'll get to, but unscripted thoughts about upcoming Ulysses read along in June and July. Um, I'm a wee bit nervous about it, especially the first week. Maybe once we get through the first week, I'll be more confident. Greg's got a Discord started. Not a lot of information on it yet, but there will be. So far, we have some resources, extra books you might be interested in reading, and then a welcome page where we have some interested parties and other booktubers. Won't mention any names here yet, but so Greg's divided it up into weeks by page numbers. And the more I think about it, and Greg and I haven't really talked this over yet because I'm just thinking about it, unscripted. I would prefer to have the first week just the first 3 episodes, or maybe first 4 perhaps. We'll see how it goes. We'll try to stick to the schedule because I have I'm just going through my oldest copy of Ulysses that I have, and I have a lot of information packed in this. Even just not only annotations, but notes about, the court case. Maybe I should talk a little bit about that. It was finally in 1933, and this edition has the Judge Worley's opinion. A few pages long, but not very long. And then I have notes on all the different episodes and just on Stephen, on Buck, Malachi, Mulligan, Haynes, the first 3 characters in Telemachus, the first episode that introduces us to Stephen. It's 4 months after Portrait of the Artist as a young man, and Stephen was telegrammed in Paris. Come home, mother dying, by his father, Simon Dedalus, who is in Ulysses. I wanted to mention, before I forget, I don't know how much we're going to get into the Odyssey. Probably more than a little bit, but it's not necessary to have read the Odyssey or to have the Odyssey or to read along with the Odyssey. In fact, one of the books I put down in the discourse for reference that I do not own anymore, or currently, is Stuart Gilbert's book on Ulysses, which introduced what is called the schemata. That sounds real, schemata. Why, that just means all these correspondences that it later came out that Joyce basically wrote the book and had, put it this way, he had a big influence on the book. I read recently a quote by the great scholar Harold Bloom about Ulysses' novel where Stephen Dedalus wakes up thinking he's the main character in Ulysses, and they're studying Hamlet, and then wakes up to discover he's not. Now, Hamlet is in the Skyline Charybdis chapter episode. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I can find it out we're going to be primarily using the Gabler edition, by the way, and it has a nice table of contents. I'm referring to chapter 9, of course. in the middle of part 2, The Wanderings of Ulysses. Boy, am I nervous to get into it? I don't know. To dive back into it. Wee bit. But if I take a deep breath and I think about all the misnomers, or, that it takes place in 24 hours, it actually takes place in 18 hours, that it's, you gotta know all about Catholicism, and I mean, that definitely helps. But remember, Joyce was a staunch atheist against the church, blasphemous, etc. We'll be going over. I want to make the book fun because it is such a fun book. It's my favorite novel of all time. So that's why, won't be hitting the Odyssey too hard. Just a wee bit. But there's things about fun things like the man in the Mac. Man dressed in the Macintosh that keeps appearing throughout Ulysses, and we're trying to figure out who he is and what his part in Bloom's life and why he keeps appearing. So we'll be covering that, along with the beggar who Molly throws a coin to out the window, and he appears throughout, or the drowned man who appears in Telemachus, first episode. You see him, and then or the cloud. There's a floating cloud that floats by, and we can keep track of the time of day. Every episode is time is tracked very specifically throughout the book. There's a dog in it. How can you have the greatest novel ever without having a great dog called Gary Owen? He's a racist dog, and he's prophetic. He's prophetic. He almost speaks, but no spoilers, please. Let's see, we have a play in here called Nighttime, called Nighttown. It's the red light district, or was, in Dublin. I'll be showing maps later on, not in this video, but I don't even have my Don Gifford annotations in Ulysses within reach, nor do I have my Catherine Flynn Cambridge edition within reach. But I have this is I'm almost going to call it my tie-dyed edition, because some of this is in Penelope. The last episode is kind of like wet a little bit, but Penelope is only in, I can't even read some of these notes. How many? It's in 8 unpunctuated paragraphs. Penelope. Just by periods, but 8 paragraphs. What else can I say? What else? What do I have? I always put, what is this? Seems to be a receipt from the library. Can't read the receipt, but it's for Ulysses, a book of something. I wish I could read this because it's probably a good reference book, but that's from Moultrie, Georgia County Library. Boy, how many times have I read this? I've had this edition since 2nd of February 2014. Groundhog Day. It's also James Joyce's birthday. And then that's when I read it in Georgia. Ulysses has 140 characters in it, by the way. So I also went through this book with Frank Delaney, did a podcast called Rejoyce, where he basically did a line by line analysis of this, and it's a real treat. It's still available. I'll put a link below. So I went through that after I went through this in 2014. Then I also went through half of this book with Frank Delaney. We stopped on. Do I have it marked? Sorry for all the unscripted stuff. Do I have it marked? I do. We'll come to it. It's easy to find. It's when I stopped taking notes in there. Yeah. Frank Delaney's last Rejoice podcast, he died, was 20 February 2017. And we made it all the way through the 10th episode, Wandering Rocks. It's where interesting episode. They take Nelson's pillar is or was a big pillar in Dublin. I won't. So I was gonna say I won't spoil it. It's in history. They blew it up, but Wandering Rocks is like a point of view episode of Ulysses. Very interesting, and it's in different sections. But yeah, episode 8 we made it through, and well, I don't want to leave it on a sad note like that. But my grandmother bought me my first edition of Ulysses, and it was a Random House edition in 1984. Yeah, bought it from a Walden's bookstore in a mall, Southwick Mall. I ended up working at Walden's, or I can't remember if I worked there at the time or what, but she bought it for me for my birthday. It's not this edition. I've had this long enough, but that edition was falling apart. I don't know what happened to it. You can see this edition is taped up a little, but this is getting long, over 10 minutes. So I would like to welcome you and invite you to participate in our read along of Ulysses. It's going to be fun. I look forward to it. And I think I'll leave it at that. Talk to you later. Thanks.